So On has really been stepping up their game lately and releasing some good running shoes. So the Cloudmonster that I have here is their latest shoe. That is one of their most highest cushion, great for crushing those long runs and recovery days. Is this their best running shoe yet? Well, I've only done a few runs on it, but I'm ready to give you my first impressions. So let's start with the specs. The On Cloudmonster has a stack height of 29mm in the heel, 23 in the forefoot with a 6mm heel to toe drop. Comes in at 9.7 ounces, I believe that's for a men's size 9, and I put this in the maximalist trainer category. So let's go ahead and dive into the shoe overview. So the upper has a breathable engineered mesh with a thin gusseted tongue, and then it has these braided laces that help lock your midfoot down. The midsole uses their Helion foam, which is an EVA and OBC blend. It has the very large Cloudtech elements, aka these big holes that go all the way through the midsole, and then it does have a plastic speedboard plate thrown in there. The outsole has their Cloudtech rubber, which is the same as the Cloudstratus 2.0, which I found to be pretty durable. So out of the few pairs of On shoes that I have, which are the Cloudstratus 2.0, the Cloud Vista, and the Cloudmonster, this shoe seemed to fit me the best. It fit true to size. I found that the length was good. I didn't have to really crank down the laces, no heel slipping. So this is definitely the best fitting On shoe that I've tried to date. Alright, so let's talk about the ride of the Cloudmonster. So I've done a few runs in it, kind of ranging from some easier runs to picking up the pace a little, and then just going a little bit longer. And so what I found is that this midsole, this Helion foam, it's pretty soft. It's not like Hoka plush and marshmallowy, but it does have a nice little bounce to it as well. I think that's due to the Cloudtech elements, giving you kind of that little squish and bounce back, as well as that EVA OBC blend for that Helion foam. It's not as affected by temperature and gives it just a little extra rebound, I think. Compared to the other two On shoes that I've tried, I found that the ride of the shoe is definitely the softest and the smoothest. I think that those large Cloudtech elements really help soften up the ride, and then it does have a more pronounced rocker than the Cloudstratus 2, and I thought that helped really move you through your transition and gave it a really smooth ride. So like I said, I did enjoy this Helion foam with these big Cloudtech elements, but On calls this a super foam, and I don't agree with that. If you compare it to things like Zoom X or Flight Foam Turbo, this is just not on the same level as those super light, super bouncy, energetic foams, but I think it is a step above EVA. But complementing this foam is the speedboard, which is that plastic plate in there, and I thought that helped kind of give it an extra pop off the toe as well and kind of help stabilize the ride overall. Alright, I'm going to do a quick few comparisons of the Cloudmonster to some other shoes. The first shoe I'm going to compare it to is the On Cloudstratus 2.0. So the Cloudstratus 2.0 was the first On running shoe that I really tested and that I actually liked. I thought that the heel was a little bit firmer, but I really liked the ride of the forefoot. I didn't think the foam was super soft or energetic, and I thought that the upper was a little loose fitting and I couldn't get that lock-in super well. So what I like about the Cloudmonster is that it addresses all those issues. It has a softer heel, kind of softer overall. It has that smoother heel-to-toe ride, much better fitting upper. And these two shoes are the exact same price. So if I had to choose, I would definitely choose the Cloudmonster overall any day over the Cloudstratus 2.0. However, I'd say the only reason to choose the Cloudstratus 2.0 is if you want maybe a little firmer ride, a little more responsive maybe. But honestly, I think that the Cloudmonster is the better value and the better shoe overall. Alright, the next shoe I'm going to be comparing it to is the Glideride 2 from Asics. So these two shoes actually have quite a bit in common. Both have comfortable uppers, they both have high cushion midsoles with rockers in them and plastic plates. To really differentiate these two shoes, I think that the Glideride 2 is maybe a little more plush, but the rocker on it is definitely more aggressive. It throws you on your toes more, while the On Cloudmonster, I'd say, is maybe a little more energetic, but the rocker isn't as extreme, so you don't kind of get that thrown on your forefoot feel from it. Overall, I really like both of these shoes, but I think the Cloudmonster just kind of wins by a little bit just because it feels a little bit lighter on foot and a little more nimble. And finally, I'm going to compare the On Cloudmonster to the Hoka Rincon 3. So these two are definitely not in the same price bracket. The Rincon 3 comes in at $60 cheaper, and it's lighter, but I think it's going to be the closest Hoka to compare to the Cloudmonster, just because it does have a little bit of a firmer underfoot feel to it. It's not like the Clifton, that soft, plush, marshmallow feel. It's a little more responsive, a little bit firm, and I think that's on par with the cushioning of the On Cloudmonster. I think the On Cloudmonster is maybe just a tad more energetic thanks to the pop from the CloudTek elements and the blended foam there. And honestly, I don't think there's a winner between these two shoes. Obviously, this one's a better value, but I think just if a lot of people are like, oh, it's On's Maximal Trainer, how does it compare to Hoka? I think that the Rincon is going to be the closest comparison. So in conclusion, I think that On actually made a really good running shoe here with the On Cloudmonster. I think that it's kind of the first shoe really that they've made that's going to appeal to the wide range of runners. And instead of just kind of, I feel like they had more of a niche kind of little section of runners, and it's more on par with what a lot of the competition's doing. And yes, it's a pricey shoe, but I also think it's pretty on par with a lot of the other shoes that are that high cushioned kind of $160 price range. So I think that On does have a winner here. I'm excited to see what they keep doing with their shoes and as they kind of grow as a brand, because I think that they might be onto something here. So I'm going to be putting these shoes through the different run types, putting a bunch more miles on them before I give you my full review. But until then, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss my first impressions of the new On Cloud Vista. Thanks for watching. Let me know, what do you think of the On Cloudmonster in the comments down below. And as always, keep on running.